Hey guys, what is going on? It is RC Knockout and I am back with another video. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Nolan. In today's video, I have got my Traxxas Slash two-wheel drive out, aka the cheapest Traxxas Slash project. I attempted to make a video here a few days ago, like at this exact same location. I was trying to do an upgrade video outside, which more recently I've been doing and it's been working really well. Unfortunately, as soon as I showed up over here and I got all my stuff set up, laid out all my tools, had all the upgrades sitting here to show you guys on video, a family showed up over here at the park and their kids started playing on the playground, screaming, making a ton of noise, and then they were running around on the RC track. At that point I was debating whether or not I would get up, and I could have gone to the other part of the park and maybe found a different shelter, but I was going to wait them out and wait for them to leave. But then unfortunately in the meantime somebody started mowing their yard right on the other side of these bushes. So at that point I just had it. I just decided, you know, screw it, I'm just going to go ahead, put the upgrades on, and I'll just show you guys in a video later. So unfortunately, I don't have an install video for any of this stuff I just did, but I just put a bunch of money into my Traxxas Slash two-wheel drive. The first thing you're probably going to notice is these PROLINE Power Stroke shocks, and they're progressive rate springs, so there's two springs on here. I just put 30 weight fluid in both. I maybe could have put 40 or 50 weight in the rear. The rear seems kind of not dampened enough. I don't know. These were not cheap. I've been having issues where the shock shafts have been bending like crazy on my two-wheel drive Slash, the front ones especially. The rear ones have done it a few times as well, and I wanted to get some upgraded shocks. I was considering the Traxxas, because if you guys remember, I did do a big bore shock swap on this RC in the past, but I didn't really like how springy they were. They were too springy. Those were some cheap ones I bought off of Amazon, so I decided to go with something more expensive. I wanted to get the Traxxas upgrade ones, which were about $60 or $70 for a whole set. I saw some poor reviews on it, and people were saying that the big bore, the aluminum shock body wasn't even that big. It was like smaller than the stock plastic one. So in the end, I kind of bit the bullet and went and bought these, which were super expensive, the Power Strokes. I think they're 60 bucks for a pair, and I got two pairs, so that right there is 120 bucks. Keep in mind, this Traxxas Slash started out at $189.95, so I just put 120 bucks into it just in shocks. The other thing I did, guys, was I went ahead and I replaced the shock towers. So you might not be able to see this, but I went ahead and I switched the shock towers from those Atomic RC ones, those aluminum ones. I switched them over to RPM. I just decided it's better to go plastic. The RPM stuff's just better. I actually bent my shock tower. I didn't notice it. I came home, was looking over my Traxxas Slash, realized the rear shock tower had gotten bent on one of the jumps I had done. So I went ahead and I put the RPM on. I know RPM has really good stuff. Their plastic's extremely flexible, so I put the plastic one on the rear, and you can't really see, but here is the front one as well. And in the meantime, also, the other thing I did was that front bulkhead. You can't really see it, but I changed this front bulkhead to an RPM front bulkhead too. So right in here, that black bulkhead, the original bulkhead was gray. And one more thing I did, I went ahead and I swapped out the Traxxas upgraded steering system. So the, what was it called? I can't remember what it's called, but the Traxxas steering bell crank system, I swapped it out for this hot racing one. And the reason was because I was having issues because the Traxxas one, this little arm right here sits on these spline pieces and it kept on coming off. So I'd lose my steering, I'd have to push it back down. So this is one solid piece. It's hard to explain. If you guys have that bell crank, you might know what I'm talking about. But basically, the horn of this bell crank or whatever kept on sliding upward. It was like down here, it kept on sliding upward because it was on like a hexagon shaped piece, and there's nothing holding it down, and then it just kept on coming up, and then the top part was round, so it kept on sliding off of it, and then I lost steering altogether. So I decided to put this one on, this hot racing one, which is actually a little bit cheaper, and that's the only reason why I replaced the Traxxas one. Not because it wasn't good quality, but because I just kept on having it slipping. I think the bigger and bigger jumps I did, the more it was happening. And then the other thing I did, which this was a huge upgrade, and I wish these kids would be quiet, but this was a huge upgrade. This was very expensive. I ended up stripping a gear in the cheapest Traxxas Slash, and I could not find the gears to replace them for sale. All I could find is the whole transmission. I just spent $120, I think, is what this transmission alone cost, which, yeah, I mean, I was biting my tongue when I decided to make that purchase, so I hope it's worth it. But I did not want to go spend $40 or $50 to go buy another of the stock transmissions. I could find the planetary differentials for sale online at a bunch of different places. I saw the planetary differentials, but that was not the gear that stripped. I went into there and I checked, and it was one of the, I don't know if it's like called the idler gear. It was one of the bigger gears in here that had stripped in the cheapest Traxxas Slash 2-wheel drive. So what I ended up doing, guys, is I went ahead and I made a pretty big purchase, because this right here is the PROLINE 2-wheel drive slash transmission. So the difference is it has heavy duty gears in there, and also these gears are 32 pitch. So rather than being the 48 pitch gears like on the 2-wheel drive comes with, this has what the 4-wheel drive would come with, which is 32 pitch gears. And I think I put a 15 or a 14 tooth pinion on there, 32 pitch. And yeah, so that's the other big thing I did, was I swapped out the transmission. You can see on the aluminum plate there, PROLINE. Swapped out the transmission for this nice aluminum, well, it has an aluminum motor plate. The rest of it is actually plastic, but it was a big purchase. I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to do that, and I still am not sure. I've yet to test it. This is the first time I'm going to be testing it at the track. This will probably be in a different video where I test it, but I just wanted to show you guys all the upgrades that I've done. Unfortunately, didn't get video for you guys, so I don't have install videos, but we're going to do some testing with this. So basically, I went away from the aluminum. I went basically all RPM. The only stuff that I kept aluminum was the hub carriers in the back are still aluminum, and the steering knuckles, and I think those are called caster blocks, in the front are still aluminum. Otherwise, everything else has been converted over to plastic RPM stuff, basically. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to give you guys an update on this. And also the other thing, guys, you probably already saw the video on this. I put the PROLINE body mount system that basically is clipless. It has those little screw down things that screw the body down. So I got that on the 2-wheel drive Slash as well now. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in another video. Later.